Coming to you, Wakili Theuri, I mean, the president also yesterday, to quote him, he said, "It has been suggested to me," he meant himself, "that the previous regime had a budget to bribe the courts, but I will not spend a single cent on bribing judicial officers." Given what we are witnessing at the moment, I mean, it puts under the spotlight, is it the Attorney General who is the principal legal advisor to the government and its institutions, and why then the sudden disagreement with many of the government's cases when it comes to court and the dispensation of and the determinations made to that effect? I mean, does it not raise more questions about the AG's office when it comes to the government's court cases and the subsequent losses when it comes to big projects like the housing and the health?
That is true, and the position that the Attorney General holds is one that has been examined in a lot of these issues, because one, he's the principal advisor to the government on all these issues. But also, Ayub, the other critical thing is that the Attorney General, by virtue of his position, also sits in the Judicial Service Commission. And so that, therefore, he is the president's voice in the Judicial Service Commission. Where there are these issues, he is the one who is supposed to speak in the Judicial Service Commission and express to them the views or the displeasures or the positions that the president may have. But what we are witnessing, in my view, is a situation where one arm of the government is unwilling to operate within the confines of the Constitution. Because whatever complaint they may have with the judiciary, they have enough mechanisms within the law to deal with them in a manner that supports the statehood. What is the statehood? The statehood are actually the three arms of government working in harmony with the president at the top, promoting national unity, promoting constitutionalism, promoting the rule of law. And that is what is critical in this discussion, so that we have actors such as the Attorney General who are supposed to advise on the law, to advise that if you do this, this is what is going to be problematic. If you do this, this is going to be problematic. If you do this, this is what is not going to happen. If, for example, the court has given an order that you disagree with, let us go to court and challenge that order and raise that question. And so therefore, if, for example, the executive is feeling aggrieved, or Parliament is feeling aggrieved, that the judiciary is unnecessarily stopping them from enforcing they have a platform that they can raise that issue at the Judicial Service Commission, and to raise that issue and to say that we feel as the executive that this and this and this is happening within the framework of the independence of the judiciary. We respect your independence, but we feel that there are certain things which are being done or not being done that. And that is the reason why the executive has membership at the Judicial Service Commission, so that those issues can be discussed within the confines of the Constitution. Because there's one thing that we have to accept here, that the independence of the judiciary comes with what we call decisional independence. And so that, therefore, a judge looking at a case before him would be able to determine whether this meets the constitutional principle or not. They do not necessarily have to be right.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. They do not necessarily have to be right. And that's why we have an appellate mechanism, so that if a judge is wrong, having exercised his mind independently on an issue, then that issue can be reviewed elsewhere. So what I want to say is this, that the history of this country is extremely important. We always have to examine and say, why did we enact certain things in our Constitution? It is there. And when it comes to interpretation of the Constitution, the first place you go to, and I think we all know this, is what is the history of the country?
The intention of
what was the intention?
And
whatever determines the intention is actually the history. So we've come from this past. And where we are, and why we are concerned right now is that we are seeing tendencies that wants to take us back to an era where we have said, as a country, we are not going back to. So, and for me, the thing that makes me happy is that the executive is actually unhappy about decisions that are being made by the judiciary. And I want to urge the judiciary of Kenya to continue making the executive unhappy, uncomfortable, making parliament unhappy and comfortable. Because as long as they are doing it within the Constitution, as long as they are doing it guided by the law and guided by the Constitution, they are doing the thing that they are supposed to do, and for us, we will support it. But if they become unaccountable, then we are going to challenge.
Well provided for. I mean, the mechanisms that you have talked about, and one of Honorable Farah, just order.